Hello Year 5, it's Mr. Dyes here again, and I've got 4 more art sessions for you to follow on from our drawing course that we did earlier on in the year. We're going to spend the next 4 weeks, 2 weeks before half term, 2 weeks after, dealing with the subject of collage. I like saying that word, collage. Basically it's using materials, paper, fabric, foil, all sorts of materials that are stuck together to make an image. And I call it cutting and sticking mostly, but it's great fun. So I'm going to show you this first week how to make a collage out of a mixed media by using crayons to create the background and using just basic newspaper print to create the image that we want. And it's going to be based on the planting of birch trees. And I'll just show you an example of the subject matter, and then I'll show you how to go around making it. It's not too difficult, but it does need a Year 5 concentration on it. Okay, have a look at this little video I made earlier. This is a little planting of silver birch trees on an area where I take the dog for a walk. And it's a really lovely example of how close together silver birch trees are generally planted. The straightness of their trunks, how vertically they grow. At the top we start to see branches that are starting to branch out, but most of the bottom of the trunk is fairly straight and narrow. If we look more closely at the actual trunk itself, you can see there's, amongst the silver colour, you get lots of little black bits that go horizontally across. And then at the top we've got foliage. The leaves of the tree are at the top. Now in this particular shot, and this is the one that we're going to be trying to make a piece of artwork from, you can see the greenery behind. Down in the bottom, excuse me, there is some beautiful bluebells and celandines, yellow and blue flowers. We've got the green of the trees behind, and the sky this morning is quite a grey colour. So this is what we're going to try and create with our collage and mixed media work this morning. So this is the piece of artwork that we're going to make out of our collage. Our trunks of our trees are made from just cut newspaper print. We've got a background which we do first of all, and then we put the trees in the foreground. So we've got the trees, the branches, we've got the sky, the greenery behind, and the grass with the flowers, wildflowers in there. You'll notice that the way that the trees have been put down on the paper is some are closer to the bottom of the page, and then these are set up the page a little bit, and then these last two are set up even further up the page, so that it gives an impression of perspective, that the trees are, the view that you're having is going back. So I'll show you how to go about making that now. So we need newspaper, and it's better to have a whole piece that's got mostly print on it. It doesn't matter about this little bit in the middle, but mostly print is good. And it also needs to be about the same size as your piece of paper that we've got. So what I'm going to do is to cut, and there's a little border on there, so I'm going to get rid of that border, and I'm just going to cut through and make my tree trunks. And they all need to be reasonably the same size. So if you get yourself sorted out with that, And we're going to cut some of these down later on, because it needs to be, as I said earlier on, some of them need to be closer to the bottom of the page and some need to be a little bit further. I'm not taking a great care cutting them because trees aren't, I won't do them with a ruler, and I think I can get one more out of there. I'm just going to cut it a little bit smaller. So to start off, that's all we need to do, is to get our newspaper and cut. I think we need about 5 or 6, maybe 7 at the most. So once we've done that, we're going to put those to one side, and we're going to, let me just put those to one side, and we're going to start creating the background. So at the bottom of the paper, and if I turn the paper around this way, it might be more easily seen for you. So at the bottom of the paper, I'm going to use backwards and forwards strokes to create the grass. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to go backwards and forwards, and you can hear how I'm going quite quickly, and then I'm going to go over again, and I'm going to press a little harder this time. So A, I'm filling in the spaces, and B, I'm creating a different feel. So all the time the movement of my hand is going backwards and forwards, and then I'm going to press a little harder in a random fashion. So when you've gone all the way across the paper, it should look like so. I'll just do a few more lines for you. And then the next thing we need to do is to take a darker green, because this is going to be most of the, I'm going to draw a little line here, and most of that space now is going to be taken up with the foliage in the background. Now this was a backwards and forwards, almost like a printer movement. This, we're going to take it from one corner to another, and I'm just doing a controlled scribble. So I'm going to do backwards and forwards, doing that controlled scribble. And then I'm going to come crosswise, doing the same scribble, but it's a controlled scribble. I've gone there, and now I'm coming back again. Now I'm going to take it from the other corner, so I'm going to turn this round a little bit now. So I'm going to do the scribble that way, on the diagonal into the corner, and then the last one I'm going to do across like so. So you can see what we're doing, and what I'm going to do now is try and fill in as many gaps as possible doing that shape. So we then get to this stage. I'll show you here. So we've got the green of the grass, and we've got the trees, which has been scribbled in all different directions. Now I'm going to use the blue. I'll go back to my original, if I can find it. Here it is. And on the top part, that's going to be the blue of the sky. So the grass was coming up vertically. This was going in all directions. And now the sky I'm going to take horizontally, and I'm not going to be too careful with it. I'm just going to create some gaps in it. So I'm not really looking to get every last little bit covered. I just want a quick, and I'm going to take it down to the top of the trees. So 3 different movements, up and down, backwards and forwards across, random, and then this is coming across like so. So we then end up with our background. So our background covers the whole of that piece of paper, and that's all we need. So now we come to our sticking of our trees in the foreground. So I'm going to use this pink glue so it's easier for you to see me using it. And I've got a little technique that I use. Check which side is the best side to use, because sometimes you get pictures on the other side. This side looks the better to me. It hasn't got that mark in the middle. So I'm going to use this side. So I'm going to glue the bit with the mark here. And you have to be quite gentle with this. I'm going to just stick the piece of paper on top of the glue, and then I'm going to put my thumb on top of the piece of paper just gently, and then I'm going to pull this through. And I'm going to put it gently and a little bit of pressure. If I put too much pressure, I won't be able to pull it. Too little pressure and it's going to come off. So I've got to put just enough pressure on there to keep that on top of the glue stick. And I'm going to pull that through like so, and then I'm going to put it down, and I'm going to put it down, not right in the middle, I'm going to put it to one side, and I'm going to stick it like so. And then you'll see now that I've got a bit that's flapping over the top, which I don't want. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the top of that down. And now I've got one piece glued there. I'll show you another one. I'm going to take the glue stick. I'm going to stick it on the top. Thumb on gently. And if this breaks, it doesn't matter because you've got plenty of newspaper. But try. Oh, just as I'm saying that, that breaks. So I put too much pressure on this thumb. Round it comes. And I'm going to put this quite close. I'm going to stick it about here and press that down nice and hard. And then I've got the bit at the top again, which needs trimming off. So I'm just going to trim that like so. So I'll just do one more for you to see, and then I'll try and do that quickly. So I'll whip through that very quickly. And this one now is going to be, I'm going to put it in a higher place so it gives the impression, again I've got more to cut off this time. So by setting them out like this, it looks like this tree is further behind these trees. It gives the illusion. Once I've done that, and you've planted your trees out, so you've got them, if I go back to my original piece, if you plant them so you've got the trees, some here, some a little further up the page, and some even further up the page, that'll give us our basic shapes. Then, if you've got any little offcuts, little tiny bits that you trimmed off the main part, those are really good for making the branches. So I'm just going to glue, and this is going to come quite close to the top, and then I'm going to cut. Now we don't need too many of these branches because it'll get too muddled. So I'm going to put like so. I'll just cut that at the top of the page. And I think I'll put maybe one more. So you can do 3 or 4 maybe, just to show that those trees are beginning to branch. And don't put them all in the same sort of place, like so. So now we've got the trunk of the tree and some of those smaller branches that are going up. And because it's the newspaper print, it gives it that grey look of the silver birch. Now, if you remember, we had the black shapes on that tree, and all I'm using for the black shapes is I'm looking through my newspaper print and I'm trying to find the bold type that is either a headline or at the top of a paragraph or an article. So now I've got the darker ones, and this letters is very good. I'm just going to cut that out roughly. So now I've got my letters. I only want the dark shape, so I'm going to cut through like so. So I've now got my, where are you? The darker bit here. I'm going to run that across the glue with my thumb. You have to pull quite gently with this, otherwise, because it's thinner, it's going to break. I'm going to find a space on the tree. I'm going to lift up the bit that's flappy, cut that so I can use this twice. So I've now created the black bits on the horizontal bits on the tree by using the print. So I need to look again now, and I can find something here. This says Country Diary. So again, I'm only using the darker print. It's darker than the, so that it stands out against the grey of the tree. Oops. So I'm just going to trim that slightly, if you can see that. Run it across, and you can put quite a few of these on. Now I'm going to put it on this one, so I'm going to put it so that it comes, again I'll show you, it's flapped up. Can't see if I put my hand there, can you? And I've got a little bit more. I'm going to put it down here. Can you see I've put it so that they don't all come in a row? And this is what I mean about year 5 work. So you've got to think carefully where these pieces are going to go. And I've also put, on this original one, I put some of these little black pieces that I found, for instance here, in this, because it's underlined on the, above the, or overlined, isn't it? Not underlined. So I'm just going to cut that dark piece out. It might be from an image or a picture or newspaper photograph. And just, these are little tiny bits, but these will add to the overall look of the, so it's just a little black bit. And again, I haven't been too careful about cutting it. So I'm just going to be very careful, and it's broken, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to stick it down. So I've got that. And these usually occur up where the branches branch off. It's like a little knot. But you can put, just fleck them around, and those are just extra little bits that make the tree more tree-like. Okay, so I will see you when you've got on with starting off. Remember that the background is done first, and then you put the tree trunks on, branches, and then you can start decorating the trees themselves. When I look at this, I can see that this needs trimming off, and I'll just do that. Fantastic. So I hope that all makes sense to you, and I'll really look forward to seeing what you've produced. Oh, one last thing I forgot. Now we can just do some little dots, and these are just random dots in the grass, and I'm going to put some yellow ones as well. I'm going to dot those around so you can have a bit of fun with that to create some wildflowers in the meadow. Right, I think that's enough to be getting on with, isn't it? So have fun with that, and I'll catch up with you as usual in the Zoom session. Bye.